Hey guys, Cam Galgano here, and today's video is all about training the posterior chain. By posterior chain, I mean our hamstrings, our glutes or our butt, and our spinal erectors or our lower back muscles. These muscles are so important for not only preventing injury because we spend so much time spending the muscles that we can see on the anterior aspect of our body, so our quads and our six-pack muscles, and oftentimes we neglect these muscles on the back side of our body, and that is where imbalance and injury can occur. Aside from injury prevention, these muscles are so important for power production because, think about it, when we're doing anything such as a jump or a sprint, this action of loading our hips or pushing our butt back is our body's way of storing potential energy to be used during that extension. And that violent hip extension all occurs from these posterior chain muscles. That is why it is so important for athletes to have a really strong and resilient posterior chain. The beauty behind posterior chain training is there's a ton of different ways to train it through a ton of different exercises. A great way to categorize your posterior chain exercises is to separate them by our posterior chain's main functions, which are hip extension and knee flexion. Hip extension involves the hamstrings, glutes, and the spinal erectors, while knee flexion occurs primarily at the hamstrings. As athletes, it's really important to train primarily our hip extensors because it's involved in every dynamic movement, jumping, sprinting, throwing, but it's also really important to train our knee flexors, so our hamstrings, especially with slower, more controlled movements, because that's going to help prevent a lot of knee injuries.